Today, we're digging into a pretty amazing agricultural trial. It all started in just one field, but believe me, it has huge implications for the future of farming everywhere. We're going to break down the innovator behind it, the experiment she ran, and what it could mean for all of us.
It's a huge question, right? But it's one that an experiment in Alathur, Kerala was determined to answer. This is really a story about working with nature, not against it. And it all begins with the person who made it happen.
So to really get what's going on here, you first have to meet the person who is the driving force behind it all. Her work is basically the foundation for everything we're about to see.
So this is Mrs. Resmi MV. For more than a decade now, she's been right there in the trenches, working directly with farmers. Her big focus has always been on organic and climate-resilient agriculture, especially in the vital paddy growing area of Palakkad, which is famously known as the Rice Bowl of Kerala.
And believe me, her dedication has not gone unnoticed. Back in 2015, she was actually named the best agricultural officer in the entire state. And it doesn't stop there. The office she leads, Rivvin Alathur, also got top honors, winning the prestigious V.V. Raghavan Memorial Award. This isn't just a list of awards. It's a track record of real, on-the-ground impact.
Okay, so you've got this champion of farming, right? With all this experience. The next logical question is, what specific challenge did she decide to take on? Well, she put her principles to the test with a very hands-on trial at the state seed farm in Alathur.
The mission was super clear. Let's run a real-world trial and see if natural farming methods actually work for a massive staple crop like paddy. This wasn't about some abstract theory in a lab. It was about getting practical, observable proof that there's a different, better way to farm.
And yeah, this was no simple plant it and see what happens kind of deal. No way. This was a super meticulous trial. They tracked everything from how the crop was developing to the interactions between pests and their natural predators, the good guys. They even analyzed how the climate affected the crop, and most importantly, they measured the final yield and crunched the numbers on the financial return. All right, so after a full crop season, the big moment finally arrived. It was time to look at the data and see if this whole nature-first approach could really hold its own.
So this really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Can a farm be good for the planet and good for the wallet? Can you actually get a solid harvest without all the heavy chemical inputs that we kind of see as normal these days?
And the results? Well, they were just overwhelmingly positive. The trial proved you could dramatically cut down on chemical fertilizers and pesticides. It made the crops tougher, more resilient to climate shocks. But here's the real kicker for farmers. This method actually boosted the paddy yield by 15% compared to conventional fields, all while lowering the overall costs of production. I mean, think about that. That's not a tiny tweak. That's a huge win, both financially and for the environment.
Look, helping the environment is awesome. We all agree on that. But for farming to be truly sustainable, it has to pay the bills. So let's talk about the money.
To figure out the financial success, they used a metric called the benefit-cost ratio, or BCR. It sounds complicated, but it's actually super simple. For every 1 rupee you put in, how many do you get back? A BCR over 1 is good. Well, this trial came back with a BCR of 2.1. Let me break that down for you. For every single rupee spent, the farmer earned back 2 rupees and 10 paise. That's proof right there. These practices aren't just good for the earth, they're fantastic for the bank account.
And this slide just lays it out perfectly. You've got 2 different paths you can take in farming. On one side, conventional farming often relies on these really expensive chemical inputs, which can wear out the soil over time. But natural farming, that's a whole different philosophy. It's like you're investing in your farm's own little ecosystem for the long haul.
So you might be wondering, how does this all actually work? Well, take pest control. Instead of spraying expensive chemicals, you just create a nice home for the good guys, like spiders and ladybugs, and they eat the pests for you, for free. And the soil? You stop treating it like dirt and start treating it like a living pantry, constantly feeding it organic matter so it's packed with nutrients. And when your soil is that healthy, it acts like a giant sponge, holding on to water so you don't need to irrigate as much. It's brilliant.
Okay, so what happened in this one paddy field is incredible. But the implications, they stretch way, way beyond Alathur. This is basically a proven model, a blueprint that could be used anywhere. And this is exactly why this all matters so much. This isn't just about a better way to grow rice. It's about building a system that gives farmers a stable income, one that's less vulnerable to crazy weather or market prices. It secures the food on our tables, and at the same time, it actively helps fight climate change by locking carbon in the soil. It's a win-win-win.
In the end, what this experiment in Alathur really gives us is a powerful blueprint. It shows that we can grow the food we need in a way that actually heals the planet instead of harming it. This single field has shown that profitable farming and a healthy planet aren't enemies. In fact, they're partners. So the only real question left is, if we have a proven recipe for a better, more sustainable future, what's stopping us from getting started?